Hey, what's going on, guys? Butterbar here. Welcome back to the channel. So today I want to talk about the game footage that we got of Resident Evil 3. A couple days ago, Capcom released some amazing game footage of the new game, and I have to say I'm very impressed not only with the environment, the character detail to everything, and I'm just super excited, man. This is a lot of great stuff that we've been actually wanting to see before the game gets released, and hopefully this amps up a lot of players coming towards, almost a month. We are almost a month away from this game's release. Before I actually get into the footage and give you guys my breakdown of it, I want to let you know, just like in Resident Evil 2 a year ago, we were kind of wanting to know, hey, what does the game feel like? What does it play like? And we actually got a demo, a 30 minutes, one-time only demo in Resident Evil 2 last year that I think a lot of people were like making multiple accounts to play. At least I did. I made at least 2 or 3 accounts to actually be able to continue to play it. But we actually got to try the game out prior to the game's release. That is similar to this year. Resident Evil 3 is going to be getting a demo. We don't know exactly when it's going to be released yet. Capcom has not let us know exactly what the date is. However, March is just around the corner, and then it's going to be just a month away, 30 days from that. So it'll be amazing. I don't know exactly when the demo is going to be out, but I think it's great that we're going to be able to try this game out again before it gets released. Will it be a 30-minute demo similar to Resident Evil 2? Will it be a one-time only thing? I don't know yet. However, I'm actually very excited that we're going to be playing this prior to the game's release. So I just at least wanted to let you guys know that was happening. Hopefully in March, hopefully before too long, hopefully maybe a week or so. But again, want to let you know, if you are wanting to try this game out, you're wanting to know exactly what it's all about, you will be able to actually try this demo out, try the game Resident Evil 3 prior to its release. So, alright, now that I let you guys know that, let us get into the video and let you guys know exactly what I thought about the gameplay that got released. So, I want to say this, I'm very impressed with what the game looks like. Similar to Resident Evil 2 and what that game looked like, and the graphical details, not only to the environment, but the characters. I do love exactly what Carlos looks like. I love the redesign of Jill. I think it really does actually fit into the environment a lot more than what they actually looked like back in the 90s. But also, I love it too that the relationship that Carlos and Jill have back in the 90s, very cheesy. It was really kind of goofy and weird. But I still love it that they still have a really mixed relationship. Carlos is still the ladies' man. He's kind of wanting to hit on Jill, and Jill really is not wanting to have any of it. I think more or less you're seeing the protective nature of Carlos, but also the kind of the proud promise of what Jill has done and what she has seen throughout Resident Evil and the storyline and whatnot, and kind of the self-powerment that she has. So it is very interesting to see kind of how the two characters kind of mix together, and I'm wanting to know exactly kind of what their character development is going to be like throughout Resident Evil 3. We kind of saw that a little bit in the 90s, which it really wasn't. It was okay, but again, very cheesy. So again, I'm very excited to see kind of how that actually develops in this game. Oh my god, I have to at least stop it here. The detail and to the environment of Raccoon City. The one thing I've always wanted to know is exactly what is happening in Raccoon City. What is happening on the outskirts of everything that was in Resident Evil 2. You only got to see a little bit of in the intro of Resident Evil 2 of what the city looked like. What does the city look like in Resident Evil 3? And I'm not disappointed. The details to the environment and what it looks like on the streets and what you're going to be able to explore is something that I'm just very impressed with. That I'm interested to know exactly what type of areas are we going to be traversing. I know at least in the 90s version, we saw the streetcar, we saw the Raccoon City Police Department, we saw the power station, we saw these different iconic areas of the map, but what other areas are we going to be able to explore in this? Again, I really do love the new detail of what these characters look like and what the environment looks like. Now we're getting introduced to Nikolai. Now, Nikolai is one of those villains from the 90s version. We kind of know exactly what his background is and what his drives are. But I have to say, I really do like this updated version of what Nikolai looks like. He still has the gray hair. He does look a lot younger than his 90s version. But I love it that they still kind of stuck to the details of what Nikolai is with the Russian accent. I am very interested to see what his storyline is going to be. I know Capcom kind of talked about, changing a little bit of the things in the storyline. Is his storyline and his motivations, are they going to remain the same, or is it going to be different? I don't know, but it is kind of cool to see that Nikolai has an updated version of what he looks like, and an updated version of kind of maybe what his motivations will be. However, you can still tell that he still has kind of the same attitude that he did in the 90s version, where he does not have a lot of confidence in you as a survivor to survive throughout the city. But it is nice to see the kind of relationship between Carlos and Jill, and I want to know, is it going to be how is it going to be evolving throughout the storyline? Because even though Carlos is still kind of hitting on Jill, it is kind of nice to see that Carlos does care about Jill. But I also want to see Jill and how her evolution is throughout the storyline. So again, this is kind of showing that Nemesis is going to be a big influence on this game, that he's going to be following Jill the entire time. We will see Nemesis towards the end of this gameplay, but that is just kind of a little taste of it. Now, this is one thing I want to pause right here as well. Not only are you going to be exploring Raccoon City in the streets and whatnot, but you're also going to be kind of exploring the underbelly of Raccoon City, not only with the subway, but also the sewers, and we're going to be seeing a little bit of that game footage as well. So it is kind of cool to see what is going to be happening throughout the Raccoon City. And again, that is one thing I've been wanting to know. What is the societal breakdown during this incident, during the Raccoon City incident? Now, one thing I'm wanting to know, and I'm going to pause it right here as well, is that Resident Evil 2, there was a lot. I mean, Resident Evil is pretty much known for the survival horror and being able to manage your items, manage your inventory of what you're holding between weapons, ammo, and herbs, and different key items and whatnot. So in this footage, you're seeing not only herbs to the side, you're seeing 2 herbs over here, you're seeing some gunpowder right here. There's also a box over here that you can bust open. Maybe it has ammo and more healing stuff. It makes me want to know what is going to be the inventory management going to be like in Resident Evil 3. And Resident Evil 2 is a little, it was a little extreme sometimes until you actually got some upgrades to your inventory space, being able to unlock different pouches and whatnot. Is that going to be the same way with Jill? I know this game is going to be a lot more action-packed. Is there going to be more ammo? Is there going to be more healing items? Still, we don't know, but at least in here, in one area of Raccoon City, there is multiple healing items. What is it going to look like on normal? What is it going to look like on hardcore and whatnot? Don't know, but at least with that, you're able to see exactly kind of what's going on. Also, hold on, I want to take it back real quick. All right, let me pause it right here. Does anybody else notice the similarity to this clock puzzle right here? I don't know if this is a puzzle or not. I'm just saying it looks very similar to the clock puzzle that was in Resident Evil 3 back in the 90s, where you actually had to unlock in a certain area with a clock puzzle to get to, I think it was City Hall, and to the streetcar. So very interesting that I spotted that right now, but it's kind of cool that maybe multiple areas will have different things to kind of go back to the 90s and kind of see some of that. Now, again, there's just more detail, more of what the environment has in store for Resident Evil 3. If you guys don't know, as it's playing, there's actually somebody on a megaphone talking, giving announcements and whatnot. Now, I don't know if that's a megaphone or similar to Resident Evil 2 in the intro of that, where it was just kind of a repeat announcement of saying, hey, go to the Raccoon City Police Department. Now, will we get to see maybe what's making these announcements, or kind of more detail on kind of what's going on? Why are these announcements happening? Unclear yet, but as it's kind of going through, you can hear some of the announcements being played in the background. And I can't actually tell exactly what they're saying. So, will that give more detail exactly of what's happening in Raccoon City, where people are supposed to be meeting up, more survivors and whatnot? That's kind of one thing I'm wondering, is that, are we going to see more survivors? In Resident Evil 3, we only saw maybe 1 or 2 people that were just civilians trying to survive the incident. Are we going to be seeing more of that? Still unknown. And this is one thing I'm very interested in seeing as well, is that the detail in the different buildings, the different structures we're going to be going in. It's unclear yet what structure this is. Could this be the hospital that we actually got to go in back in the 90s towards the end of the game? And I have got to pause it right here. The detail of the environment with the lighting alone, the lighting and the shadows of being able to see a threat around the corner. Again, it kind of raises the suspense of this game. Not only is it going to be suspenseful and whatnot, but the action of everything is very interesting to see that this is coming back, of kind of developing the atmosphere of Raccoon City. And again, the detail, not only the lighting, the shadows of what the environment has, man. And the close attacks that the zombies did, similar to Resident Evil 2, with that being introduced in that game. We're also seeing that return to Resident Evil 3. We're also seeing different variations of zombies. In Resident Evil 2, we saw some variety of it, but we're also seeing more variety from, you know, the SWAT zombies that we'll see later on, the Raccoon City police officers, civilians. So I want to know exactly how many more different variants of zombies we're going to have. Now, I'm going to pause it right here. We're going back in the subway because they're using the subway to actually traverse the streets of Raccoon City from underground. If you guys don't remember, back in the 90s version, it was a streetcar. So how is that going to play differently in the streetcar? We know that Nemesis attacks a streetcar. Is that going to be the similar thing with the subway car? And are we going to be picking up civilians and whatnot? Again, there has to be more survivors in Raccoon City than just Jill and Carlos, and we do see some survivors later on in different footage, but it does make me want to know there has to be some way that we do see more civilians, more people trying to survive this. And we're actually getting to see another iconic character from Resident Evil 3 with Mikhail. So it's cool to see him. You're going to be seeing some different buildings that we can actually go into. This is, I think, Moon's Donuts. We're kind of seeing some of the environment of this restaurant. Now, if you guys don't know, while this gameplay is going, you're actually listening to some of the soundtrack from the Resident Evil 2 end credits. So I did think that was kind of cool. Somebody kind of let me know on Twitter that that is actually happening in game, that you kind of listen to. But one thing I actually, while I'm watching this and we're going into this restaurant, Moon's Donuts, what other buildings are we going to be able to go into? What other buildings are we going to be able to explore besides this restaurant? It does make me want to know, again, more of the different details to the environment and different character that the city has, besides maybe hopefully more than at least one or two restaurants, maybe one or two more buildings that you can go to, you can actually go into. Now Jill is making her way into the sewer. And we saw the sewer in Resident Evil 2. We saw exactly what Claire and Leon were dealing with in Resident Evil 2 when they went into the sewer. Now we're seeing Jill's version of that. We're seeing, now if you guys don't know, Resident Evil 3 actually happens before and after Resident Evil 2. Now we're going into the sewers prior to what Leon and Claire actually saw in Resident Evil 2. What is the sewers going to be looking like for Jill? What is her going to be? What is her side of kind of what's going on to the sewer line going to be looking like? And I imagine this is probably happening in a different part of the city, part of the sewer than Claire and Leon. But maybe we'll actually run into a lot of different locations that maybe Claire and Leon saw out in the distance, or I mean, hell, kind of like the orphanage in Resident Evil 2 with Claire. Will we get to be seeing that? Will we get to see Kendo's gun store? It would be kind of wondering to see what different areas you might kind of be encountering from Resident Evil 2. Now, in this footage, we are seeing civilians running around the city. Are we going to be seeing more of that? Are we actually going to be interacting with more civilians? We don't know, but we do see a little bit of that. The Dodge is coming back. If you guys don't know, the Dodge is coming back. Now, the Dodge was in Resident Evil 3 back in the 90s. It was really clunky. It wasn't really clear how it was to be used, but they've made it a little bit more clear on how the Dodge is actually working in this game, to where I believe it's you push R1 and you're actually able to do a dodge. Now, she did an actual perfect dodge, and the perfect dodge is right before you get attacked. If you hit that dodge mechanic, you're actually able to slow down time and actually aim at the zombie that was trying to attack you. Explosive barrels are coming back, man. You're able to take out multiple zombies, or even help damage Nemesis as is making his way towards you. So again, there's a lot of similarities making its return from the 90s version into this version. It's cool to see that barrels are coming back. Now, not only the barrels I'm kind of looking at in this gameplay footage, but also too, again, looking at just the detail of the environment of Raccoon City is, again, one thing I'm very excited about. I'm very excited to see the detail of what this environment looks like, the breakdown of the city. Not only barrels are going to be able to get shot at, but also too electric boxes being able to actually shock the zombies. From what I understand, it actually shocks the zombies in place. I don't know exactly how long it lasts, but you're able to not only shoot the barrels, but also electrical boxes as well. And if you guys don't know, back in the 90s version, you can actually shoot the street lamps. The street lamps, you can shoot those and actually deal damage to zombies as well as Nemesis. So, will that make a return? Don't know. So, Jill made her way to the power station. The subway needs power. She's trying to get power back to the subway car, and she comes in contact with another monster that is kind of around in Raccoon City. And you're seeing the infestation of the power station. And one thing that I want to know, and the one thing I actually loved about Resident Evil 2, is the detail of the different journals and whatnot that were actually left around the Raccoon City Police Department in different areas in Resident Evil 2. I want to know how different areas broke down. If we actually don't get to see it, I want to read about it and read the different characters and read the storyline of what people were dealing with during the breakdown. Now this monster is, again, very reminiscent to another monster that was in the 90s version. And one of the attacks to these things is actually can plant bugs in your stomach. And one of the ways you actually do that to actually get removed is using the herb, similar to kind of the poison status in Resident Evil 2. So it is cool to see, again, the herbs going to be making their way back, red, blue, as well as green, and what the actual herbs can do to you, to some of the effects that you're actually going to be getting. This is one of the hunter variants that we're going to be seeing. Again, a lot of people saw this in the park version of Resident Evil 3 back in the 90s. We're seeing this in the sewer. Apparently has a one-hit kill, so you want to stay away from it as much as you possibly can. Nemesis makes his return and makes a Kool-Aid Man, oh yeah, intro into this gameplay. Now we're going to be seeing multiple different attacks made from Nemesis. Now, if I'm going to slow it down, or I'm at least going to pause it right here. So, Mr. X back in Resident Evil 2 had a lot of different attacks you could do, from different slams or different punches. However, Mr. X was very easily, you were able to get away from him pretty easy. However, with Nemesis, not only does he have the attacks that Mr. X had with different hits, but also he's able to use his tentacles to bring you back, similar to what in Resident Evil 3 he had, but also too, he has this jump mechanic to where you might be thinking you're going to be able to run away from him. You might be able to think, just like Mr. X, you're able to run away from him and get away. However, Nemesis is able to make this jump to where you think you're getting it to a safe distance, and bam, he's right back in front of you. And right now, if you guys don't notice, she got hit and it actually slowed down time a little bit and actually grayed out a little bit of the environment. So again, you're seeing some of the details of her getting punched and hit, and it makes me want to know how much health Jill has. How much damage could she actually be exposed to prior to actually getting killed? Again, another special dodge. You're seeing a SWAT zombie in that mechanic to where I believe the SWAT zombies are able to hit them in the head and deal damage, but also body shots don't deal any damage because of the bulletproofness of the SWAT zombies. So, again, not only are you dealing with Nemesis, but you're also dealing with the zombies as well, making the traversing of Raccoon City streets very difficult. Jill is trying to get away, even though she's very damaged. She's able to still use a perfect dodge, but Nemesis still gets her towards the end. So, man, Nemesis is just going to be a force to be reckoned with. Again, freaking just non-stop going after Jill. And we're now seeing the introduction of the flamethrower. We've seen teases of the flamethrower. We've seen teases of this new weapon that Nemesis has. One thing I want to know is that will the rocket launcher be making a return from the 90s version into this version? The rocket launcher was his weapon that he was able to use back in the 90s version. We see the flamethrower now. Will he get more weapons to his disposal that he's going to be able to use to go after Jill? Don't know yet, but we at least get to see the flamethrower in action. So, one of the things that Resident Evil 2 had was boss fights. Resident Evil has a lot of different boss fights with different monsters throughout its history. We're going to be seeing more boss fights in Resident Evil 3. The one thing that I'm very interested to see kind of exactly how the boss fights work out is that with that dodge mechanic, does it make the fights feel less clunky? I think a lot of people that played Resident Evil 2 that were not used to it said that the fights felt very clunky with the mechanics that you actually just had at your disposal. So, will the fight feel clunky? I'm going to slow it down right here. I have to say I'm very impressed with what the grenade launcher looks like in this remake. Back in Resident Evil 2 with the remake, you had the old single-shot grenade launcher, similar to the 90s version of just having that single-shot grenade launcher. I'm happy to know that we have an updated version for Jill, a more tactical version. And I want to know, how is this going to be unlocked? In the 90s version, you found it at the Raccoon City Police Department. You found either the Magnum or you found the grenade launcher. Is it going to be similar options, randomness of different weapons you find? I don't know. But it's cool to not only see the grenade launcher making a return, but also having an updated version, more tactical version of what that grenade launcher looks like. Now, we are seeing this boss fight between Nemesis and Jill. Again, one of those things I'm wanting to know is, how does the fight feel? From what it looks like, you're wanting to destroy the fuel canister that's on his back for the flamethrower to deal damage to him. Again, with the dodge that Jill has, is going to be able to make the fight feel less clunky, to being able to actually maneuver around the map and not take as many hits that some people might have had in Resident Evil 2, where you didn't have that dodge. You just had to take the hits as they came to you, based off just the movement. I want to actually freeze this, go back a little bit, and freeze it on right here. I know it's not very in great detail, but Jill actually has her Glock with an updated version of it, or a different attachment. She actually has a suppressor attached to her weapon. Now in Resident Evil 2, we had different variations of weapons where you could actually get upgrades to those. Will we actually see that in Resident Evil 3? It looks like yes, because not only does she have a suppressor attached to her new Glock, it makes me want to know what type of different attachments we're going to be seeing to not only the shotgun we saw, the grenade launcher we saw as well. What are going to be the different upgrades we can make to our weapons? We do see it on our Glock. We don't know exactly what changes with that weapon, adding the suppressor, but it is cool to see that we are going to be getting different upgrades for our weapon. So I just at least wanted to pause on that, seeing that towards the end in this boss fight. Kind of making her way around. We're seeing that some of that fuel tank is taking damage. She's trying to use this shotgun. It looks like the shotgun's going to be an up-close weapon in the very, towards the beginning of this game. Maybe towards the end. Maybe it'll be able to get hit a lot farther out. Maybe with the hopefully upgrades to it, but there, now we're seeing the fuel canister damage. We're seeing that Nemesis is going to be making some different evolutions in what he looks like throughout the game. With that damage he took from the fuel can, you are seeing some of his outfit actually get burned away. We're seeing that Jill's trying to do some damage to him. One thing we do see as well, Nemesis does have a dodge. Now this is very similar to Tyrant fights in Resident Evil 1 remake, different fights throughout, the boss fights throughout the Resident Evil series, where not only our character is able to do a dodge similar to what Jill's doing this, but also the monsters, the bosses are able to actually counter some of the attacks you're able to do. So we're seeing that again with Nemesis, and again it's just one of those things that you're gonna have to kind of counteract during these boss fights. So I'm very happy to see that not only you're able to do that as a character, but the enemy is going to have something up their sleeve as well. So, again, the freaking boss fight right now, and with this Nemesis, and just being able to slam and attack, is going to be something that's very intense. So, and again, slowing down, being able to dodge is something I'm very excited to see and how that actually works out. But overall, Jill's able to take a lot of damage to be able to die now. So, look, I think there's a lot to be excited with the footage that we were able to see. I think there's a lot of different things that we're going to be able to get to look forward to as Resident Evil fans. But also too, if this sparks your interest as somebody that is new to this series, new to the Resident Evil games, I hope this is something that gets you excited. We're going to be able to try out the game hopefully very soon, the next couple of weeks in March, with a demo and be able to try this game out. But at least from just watching the game footage alone, it is something that I am truly excited about, and I cannot wait for this game to be released in April. It's going to be a release date of April 3rd. So, guys, I hope you loved it. I hope you enjoyed this breakdown of the game footage. Hopefully you got to see something that might be new to you. There was a few things that were kind of new to me, so it was kind of cool to actually see some of this stuff and kind of break it down. So, hope you enjoyed this video. Please have a great rest of the day, and I will see you guys all next time.